Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a look at a really interesting mix of sources. We're starting right in the editorial section of today's newspaper with two pieces, then moving to a fascinating book review. The goal really is to extract those crucial insights from these different perspectives, maybe find a few things you didn't expect along the way. So first up, we've got this editorial, India's Role in De-escalating Middle East Conflict. It's a critical look at, well, some very recent events and where India stands. It jumps straight into that incident on June 13th, 2025, what the article calls Israel's deeply troubling and unlawful strike against Iran.
Hmm.
And it notes the Indian National Congress immediately condemned it, called it a dangerous escalation, with grave regional and global consequences.
Yeah, and they frame it, don't they, as part of a wider pattern. They mention utter disregard for civilian lives and
Uh,
connect it back to the campaign in Gaza, too.
exactly, the brutal and disproportionate campaign, as they put it.
And the context here is pretty striking. The editorial points out this strike actually disrupted ongoing U.S.-Iran talks. 5 rounds done, a 6th was scheduled,
Right when they were making progress, potentially.
potentially. And then you got the U.S. intelligence side. Back in March 2025, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard testified Iran wasn't pursuing nukes. She said Khamenei hadn't authorized resuming the program since way back in 2003.
So quite a gap between the intelligence and the actions and rhetoric later.
A huge gap. And the article really goes in on the leadership, both Israeli and U.S. It talks about Netanyahu's long and unfortunate record, mentioning settlements, obstructing the two-state solution.
It even brings up the history around the Rabin assassination.
It does, suggesting he helped fan the flames. And then on the U.S. side, President Trump's stance is called deeply disappointing. Despite his usual talk against endless wars.
And he dismissed his own DNI's assessment just days after the strike, claiming Iran was very close.
Yeah, on June 17th. It's a direct contradiction, really.
It really is quite a disconnect, and the editorial hammers this point about double standards, doesn't it? It acknowledges Israel has security concerns about a nuclear Iran, sure, but then says no room for double standards,
Yeah.
especially given Israel's own nuclear status and its military history.
Right. And it contrasts that with Iran being an NPT signatory, adhering to the JCPOA until the U.S. pulled out in 2018.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for India, according to the piece. The sanctions on Iran, they've really hurt India's own projects.
Severely constrained them, yeah. Things like the International North-South Transport Corridor, Chabahar Port, these are vital for India's connection to Central Asia, Afghanistan, huge strategic projects.
And the article reminds us of the history, too, like Iran backing India on Kashmir back in '94, saying the Islamic Republic has actually been more cooperative than the old imperial state.
Which is interesting given India has also built strong ties with Israel recently, the Complex Balancing Act.
So what does this all mean for India? What's the takeaway?
Well, the editorial argues this unique position, being close to both sides in different ways, it gives India more responsibility and, crucially, diplomatic leverage. Leverage to be a bridge, for de-escalation. And it's not abstract. There are lakhs of Indian citizens living and working across West Asia. It's a direct national interest.
And the humanitarian angle in Gaza is brought in again.
Yes, starkly. Over 55,000 Palestinians dead, families, hospitals obliterated, Gaza on the brink of famine. Just devastating numbers. And this leads to the criticism of what the article calls India's disturbing stance. The Modi government's silence, it says, on Gaza and now Iran is a departure from our moral and diplomatic traditions.
So the call to action is pretty direct.
Very clear. It is still not too late. India needs to speak up, act responsibly, use its diplomatic channels.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What is the true cost of silence on the global stage? The insight seems to be that for India, staying silent isn't neutral. It actually risks undermining its own interests and standing. Okay, so that's a heavy look at geopolitics. But partnerships can also be about building things together, right? Which leads us to the next editorial, Igniting UK-India Cultural Collaboration and the Creative Economy.
A very different tone here, yeah. Much more positive, focusing on collaboration.
It highlights that recent free trade agreement ratification, which was long awaited, but also, maybe more importantly for this piece, the signing of the Program of Cultural Cooperation, the POCC.
Right, signed on May 2nd by the UK Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy and India's Culture Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat.
And what exactly is in this POCC?
It's quite specific. 5 main areas: digital tech for culture, exhibitions, performances, cultural property, and sustainability. Things that directly boost the creative economy. And it mentions Lisa Nandy was at the WAVES Summit, the World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit in Mumbai, really talking up that UK-India creative potential.
And this focus on the creative sector, it's not just a UK-India thing, is it? It's a global trend.
Absolutely. The article notes it's growing fast, projected maybe 10% of global GDP by 2030. Even the G20 leaders in Delhi called for more investment. India hosting WAVES really showed its commitment there.
So what does this mean for India specifically? Why is India seen as such a key player here?
Well, the piece points to India's strengths, that deep cultural heritage, but also cutting-edge tech, the huge artisan base, and of course the world's largest youth population. It's a unique mix.
The numbers are pretty big, too, a $35 billion creative economy.
Yeah, employing nearly 8% of the workforce. That's huge, second only to agriculture. And it's not just in the big cities. 6 of the top 10 creative hubs are outside the metros. That shows real breadth.
So why do these global partnerships, like the one with the UK, matter so much? The article gives a couple of reasons.
2 main ones, yeah. First, tackling the skilled labor shortage. That needs investment in training, apprenticeships, that sort of thing. Second, navigating new tech like AI, AR, VR. These are transforming everything, and partnerships can help share expertise. It mentions a British Council report on this.
Arts and technologies in India, reimagining the future.
That's the one. It stresses integrating this tech into creative education.
Yeah.
And the UK was quite involved during India's G20 presidency, wasn't it? Supporting partnerships, grants, exchanges like Wales and India. And there are concrete examples from business, too. Royal Enfield, that iconic brand with roots in both countries, has this project, the Himalayan Knot.
Oh, yeah. What's that about?
It's with UNESCO, focused on safeguarding intangible cultural heritage. They're working with over 580 artisans, preserving textile traditions, creating market access for them. It's a great example of business stepping up.
That's fantastic.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the article concludes with this thought, in a world full of conflict, culture and creativity can be healers. They build bridges between people, between nations.
So the key insight here is really that culture isn't just nice to have. It's a serious economic driver and a vital tool for diplomacy and connection in today's world. Okay, let's unpack this. We're really shifting gears now. From geopolitics and economics to, well, philosophy, the future, the nature of knowledge itself, we've got a book review of The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch.
Deutsch.
The reviewer, Richard Meadows, calls it the densest collection of batshit crazy ideas he's ever read.
Laugh slightly. That's one way to put it.
But also hugely generative. And you kind of see why when you hear the claims, like trillions of copies of you in a multiverse, colonizing stars, ending death, fixing global warming, solving any problem. It's pretty out there.
It is ambitious, to say the least. But Deutsch is making a serious argument. He pushes back hard against that humans as a virus idea.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Hawking's chemical scum quote.
Yeah.
Deutsch argues space is hostile, life is incredibly rare. We are astonishingly unlikely configurations of stardust, surviving despite our environment, not because of it. He calls Mother Gaia a killer, basically, and our ancestral home a death trap.
So what makes us special then, in his view?
It boils down to one thing: our ability to create explanatory knowledge. That's the key difference between us and animals, who he says have limits to their understanding. 2 ingredients needed: computational universality, the idea that our brains, like computers, can process any kind of information, and this unique ability to come up with new explanations.
And this connects to how science works, getting past the problem of induction.
Exactly. He builds on Karl Popper. We can't prove things true just from past observations. That's the turkey problem, right?
Yeah.
The turkey thinks life is great until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Phil's right.
So science works by proposing good explanations and then trying to shoot them down, criticizing them. We get closer to truth by eliminating bad ideas, not by proving things certain. Certainty is impossible.
And this ability to explain unlocks, well, everything, all that sci-fi stuff.
That's the implication. Gene editing, turning lead into gold, element transmutation, asteroid mining, star colonization, defeating aging. It's all just sexy knowledge waiting to be unlocked by the right explanations. It reframes problems as solvable, given the right ideas.
That's an intensely optimistic viewpoint. It connects to personal potential too, doesn't it? If we're all universal explainers.
In principle, yeah. He suggests any one of us could solve any problem. It's less about raw ability, more about interest, focus, having the right knowledge context. Think what that means for education, careers, how we view kids' potential.
Huge implications. And he even argues for objective moral progress. How does he get around Hume's is-ought problem? You can't get a should from an is, right?
Right, that's the classic problem. Deutsch's move is clever. He says, well, hold on, the problem of induction means you can't really get an is from an is with certainty either. So demanding absolute logical proof only for morality is unfair. Instead, he says factual knowledge can be used to criticize moral explanations, even if it doesn't logically derive them.
Like the slave example in the review.
Exactly. A slave writing a bestseller doesn't logically disprove slavery's premises, but it completely undermines the explanations used to justify it. It forces a rethink.
And this leads him to believe we actually are making real moral progress?
Non-random progress, yeah. He points to universal suffrage, abolition of slavery, global health improvements, animal rights. These aren't random fluctuations, they're steps towards better moral explanations.
Which is why supergalactic space Nazis don't make sense to him.
Pretty much. A truly advanced, knowledge-creating civilization would, he thinks, converge on better moral ideas too. Which also leads to his argument against the AI apocalypse.
Right. If AI becomes a true universal explainer, it's a person.
Essentially, yes. It would have creativity, its own goals. Current AI, he argues, are just tools, lacking that spark. A truly creative AI, a universal explainer, would also figure out morality, he believes. It wouldn't inherently want to destroy us.
Fascinating stuff. He even touches on objective beauty. Flowers appealing to us, and insects for similar underlying reasons.
Yeah, suggesting aesthetic truths might be objective, like physics or math. It's all connected in his framework.
But the reviewer does have a criticism, right, about that core idea of creativity.
The main one, yeah. That Deutsch's definition of what makes humans special, creating new explanations, creativity is under-theorized. The reviewer feels Deutsch's followers sometimes just redefine creativity to exclude whatever new thing AI achieves, keeping humans special by default.
Moving the goalposts, kind of?
A bit, yeah. And the review notes Deutsch himself admits he doesn't fully get creativity's origins. But still, his argument rests on computation and epistemology, not just observation. It's designed to be a viewquake, really shake up how you see humanity and its potential.
It certainly does that. Which leaves a big question for you, the listener. How do these ideas, this intense optimism about human potential and problem solving, resonate with your own view of where we're headed? Thank you for listening. If today's episode gave you something useful, consider following us on Spotify so you're the first to hear the next one. You can give suggestions by contacting on Twitter handle given in the episode description. We are always eager to hear what our listeners want to be informed about. We wish you a great day.